And now, podcasting from the sun-scorched desert Southwest, weighing in at a combined total of 340 pounds, Brad Winchester, Tyler McDowell-Blanken, are Gimmick Infringement.
Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester. With me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell-Blanken. Tyler, GI After Dark. Revolution is over. It is late. How you doing?
Yeah, it is late, man. I'm good. I played pickleball for the first time today.
Go to Bachelor. Yeah.
That's right. I'm telling you this for the first time as we're recording. I tried to take a few different selfies for you earlier of my shoulder because my shoulder is so bruised from pickleball, Brad. I ran into the little not guardrail, but there's definitely a better word for the court we were at. But there's this like fencing area, and at least 2 to 3 times I just ran into it going for awesome like Andre Agassi like hits, and I have huge swelling on my shoulder. So minus the swelling, pickleball is actually low key amazing. I had a great time. More on that, I'm sure, on a later episode. But weekend was good. I know we're going to talk wrestling in a little bit, wrestling from our TV, wrestling live in person. But yeah, man, things are going really well. It's GI After Dark. I'm so excited to see you. So excited to hear your thoughts on Revolution. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I did not take I did not see the pickleball takes coming. I'm tired, man. My class is winding down. March 5th, last day. After we record here, I'm going to get everything set up for the app to go up online. And then I'm sending my last email, I hope, for a couple of weeks until my next class starts for a needed break. We have the show coming up. The set's coming along. It is a massive set where we're close. We're not there yet, but we're getting closer every day. And show's going to be great. I can't get to spring break fast enough. I'm so tired. It's 10:30. It's about 2 hours past my bedtime. And I just want to go to sleep. I want to be unconscious. I do not want to look alive. But Tyler, this week you were live. You went to Smackdown. You got to see the great one. Let's talk about it in another edition of Live Event Jones. So play the music.
I love that we have a show so we can have a segment entitled Live Event Jones. And what's funny is when we were recapping Dynamite Phoenix, I don't think we had an official Live Event Jones. We just went right into it.
Just went right into it
with George. So yeah, man, you're right. Live Event Jones is back. I have some notes for you, my friend. Thank you for queuing me up there. Everyone listening and watching, you probably already know this. It was a big time SmackDown for many reasons, one of which is that it emanated from Desert Diamond Arena in my hometown of Glendale, Arizona. Capacity crowd, Brad. Desert Diamond was full. Every section had fans in it, from ringside to the very, very top. There were some open seats. I think they opened some additional sections leading up to the show. So, everyone says a sellout. Not every seat was full, but man, every section had dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of people. It was really cool. The dark match that we got before SmackDown kicked off was Cedric Alexander and Ashanti the Adonis defeating Pretty Deadly. Love that for them.
Wow. Yep. That's awesome.
Yeah, man, it was really fun. But just one match, and then I would say, gosh, within about 30 minutes, it seems like the show was kicking off. I wrote something here. The mood is about to change, to quote Taz from SmackDown years and years ago. The Bloodline kicked off the show, and this was my first time seeing the Bloodline live. Brad, when they enter the arena, there's just a totally different vibe when the final boss music hits. When Roman, obviously comes out and Paul Heyman's with him, it was everything I thought it was going to be. There were so many Rock tees and signs. I know he received his share of boos, but we were all glued to that opening promo. Everyone was standing for it. I think that promo ended up going like 30 plus minutes.
Yeah, it was forever.
Through commercial, we were all standing. It was very similar to seeing Sting last month at Dynamite, one of my childhood wrestling heroes. I'm still thinking about it, man. It was an experience that I will not forget. And what stuck with me is that The Rock called us cactus loving crackheads, and right after that, we're chanting Rocky, Rocky. It's like, oh my gosh, this guy can do no wrong. Like wrestling is just so interesting. Like, he's so good at being a heel that we can't help but chant for him. If I was brand new to wrestling, I think I would be so confused at what was going on. Final few notes here, though. Roman putting his hand on Rock's wrist, interrupting the "if you smell." Wrestling is so theatrical. I know that's a big reason why you love it so much and why I enjoy it, just the performance element of it all. And wrestling is just amazing. Cody is over in Arizona. We're going to get to him shortly. But there were signs throughout the crowd, which I'm sure you saw on TV for the American Nightmare. Speaking of over, Tiffany Stratton is not just next. She's now. There were chants for her throughout the arena.
She rules. That's amazing.
It's I don't know when this happened, certainly at Elimination Chamber, but it's not even like, oh, she's next up. She's now. She's asserted herself as being one of the best women on the roster, and I'm just blown away with how much the crowd is into her. Like you said, probably not surprising because she's uber talented. We all knew Dakota was turning on Bayley. There was a kind of a palpable dread in the audience when Bayley and Dakota came out. We knew Dakota wasn't for real. She was going to turn on Bayley.
Of course,
she did that. Rey Mysterio turned up in Arizona. Huge pop from the crowd. I was shook. He was not on my radar at all, but it makes sense given geographically where we're at and how big of a fan base Rey has here and how big Lucha Libre is. So that was great. Final two notes. The crowd loved Randy Orton. He signed every autograph and took every selfie with fans who were ringside following his win over Austin Theory. And finally, for you, my friend, my brother, we had two dark main events. Damian Priest defeated The Miz.
Oh.
Yeah. It happened.
Good.
Yes. And finally, Cody Rhodes defeated Drew McIntyre.
Wow.
Huge reception from the crowd. It was my first time seeing Cody live ever.
Yes.
And it met my expectations. It was just so many signs, so many kids, so many adults just were waiting all night for him. And he, like I said, he defeated Drew. He gave the post-match promo. Nothing really to write home about. Just, thank you, Arizona. Threw out some free merchandise. Kiss baby, shook hands, and then he was out. So it was a great experience, man. I'm so happy I made it out to the arena, and we got WrestleMania coming up in a few weeks. I think the build to it is coming along really nicely. What was your experience like, Brad? Seeing it on TV, following the timeline, anything stand out to you?
No, I mean the crowd was great. I struggle. I think this might be the only one that I've been able to watch where it's like all promo all the time and it's not a huge return. It's setting up story where, like CM Punk, the first dance was an entire 30 minutes straight on the show of CM Punk. This was very similar to that. And WWE has had those things. I think the Bloodline is the only thing that could hold my attention that long. But it had to be with The Rock. So it was great, but it was, there was about 45 minutes of wrestling, 40 minutes of wrestling, plus the commercials were within that on this show. So I didn't love how little we got. And I hate that because that segment went long, they had to cut from the women's match. That sucks. Because that feels like a kind of a recurring story with WWE, even though it's happened less. That part bothered me. What I got was the 21 minute video Rock put out on social media that was from the Dwayne compound, wherever that is. I assume it's out in Florida, in Miami. I don't think it was out in Hawaii. But that was maybe the best piece of wrestling business I've seen in years. He's just so good still. he's, we're going to be having a Sting moment like that for him at some point, and it's going to be The Rock's last match, and it's going to be awesome. But my God, can he still talk? And it's so good. And he responded to all the criticisms, and it was so good. I loved everything about it. I even love that he buried Dave LaGreca so hard in that, because he did look, frankly, he looked like an idiot in that video. So I love that he buried him. So I thought everything about it was great. I absolutely loved it. I was just really happy we're there. In all fairness, I ended up turning it off partway through because I was so jealous, and also because when I stood up, I was dizzy because I had about 3 hours of sleep in 2 days. So I was just like, I'm glad my friend's there. I'm glad my partner's there having fun. I think I'm gonna go fall on my face now and then get up at 5 a.m. on a Saturday to go do it all again.
That Friday night sleep after a long week, it just
so good.
It hits different.
Yes,
it hits different.
Yes.
I think it's clear to me, Brad. You said March 5th is coming up as the end of your class. You got spring break, obviously, here in a few weeks. Relaxation, rejuvenation is hopefully in your near future, my friend. And speaking of that, Grand Patio exists to ensure you're all set for the great weather and great memories that await this spring. For over 20 years, Grand Patio has partnered with renowned designers to create equal, livable, and luxurious collections that can transform your backyard into a personal oasis. Their products include umbrellas, recliners, gazebos, sectionals, and much more. Visit our affiliate link, grandpatio.sjv.io/GIPod. Once again, that's grandpatio.sjv.io/, gotta get your slashes right, GIPod, to shop their collection today.
Oh man, Tyler, Revolution was tonight. Sting's last match was tonight. I am a little bit emotionally drained. I gotta say it before we even get into it. I can't wait for the sixth thing we're going to discuss on this. Because boy, do I have an opinion here. Okay. But let's get into it. We're going to recap Revolution. We're going to do it a little bit differently. Tyler, you want to tell the people about it?
Yeah, I would love to, man. So we have a series of categories this time. We're always at GI trying to strive to be unique and creative and artistic. And I think most wrestling recap shows go over the whole card, match by match by match. It's what we've done, Brad, since the inception of GI. But we want to try something new. We have 7 categories that will shed light on what we saw at Revolution, but I think it's going to lead to some really fun and, again, unique conversations maybe that you won't hear elsewhere. So, Brad, we're going to kick it off. I think it's only right that we start with the best match. Revolution, many matches. I want to say there were 9 on the main card and then
Sounds
2
right.
on 0 Hour. So all of these count for this question. Everything we saw. What's your best match from Revolution 2024?
While it is tough to ignore the absolute perfection that was Sting's last match, the entrance, the moment, how big it was, his son's coming out, all of that, Darby killing himself through a plate of glass is one of the wildest things I have ever seen in my entire life. You have to have something specifically and seriously wrong with you to just willingly do that. I don't even know what to say to that. I thought Swerve Hangman Samoa Joe was incredible. I do think that based on our conversations, we knew the outcome going into that, but we also thought we knew the outcome to several of the other matches, and we were just completely dead wrong on basically everything.
The two, we went with the over under, Brad, for how many titles are going to change hands. On last episode, we both went under. We were thinking 2, but somehow we did not. So we were right on the under, because I believe only one title. One title changed hands. OC lost to Roderick Strong, International Gold. But yeah, we started out the night rough. We thought Daniel Garcia was going to be coronated.
100%.
He was not.
Yeah.
And Bryan Danielson was for sure going to beat Eddie Kingston. He did not. How are we so wrong?
I don't have the words for you. I also didn't think that I didn't think Roddy was going to lose or was going to win and beat Orange Cassidy. I just didn't think it was going to happen. But I also said I think his title run would be awesome, and I think it helps legitimize the Undisputed Kingdom a little bit.
Needed,
Big time.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, so I'm kind of okay with it. But going back, it was the one that I was the most excited for outside of Sting's match. I mean, who was looking at this thing going like, oh man, Sting, meh. Like, no, that was nobody. That was the selling point for this tape. But I think people sort of forgot Will Ospreay and Takeshita were going to be on this card. And I said at the get-go, number one, Will Ospreay is the greatest wrestler I've ever seen live, and he makes magic with Kenny Omega. Number two, when Takeshita was on loan from DDT before signing with AEW, I said, this guy is a superstar. He's a megastar. He's one of the best in the world. I need to see him more often. And we got Takeshita versus Will Ospreay in maybe the greatest AEW match ever. I think it was better than the Kenny and Will Ospreay match from, was it Forbidden Door? I think
Forbidden Door. Wow.
I think it was better than that. Only because I think their first match was better, Tokyo Dome, all of that stuff. I thought this was maybe the best pay-per-view match that AEW's ever had, and it was with those two guys. It's at least top 3 or 4. In my opinion, these are all subjective, and people can disagree. I don't care. It's how I feel about it. What do I care? But for me, it was like the clear, far and away winner match of the night. I don't know that it was even close, except for moments. See, we can go match and we can go moments. I think match, this is the best match. Moment, no, because this match really didn't have any stakes, and it was the stupid Don Callis family. That's my only criticism that makes the match go like, because there's not really much of a reason to care about it. They're just fighting, which is, what pro wrestling is. The only thing it had for it was this is Will's first match as an AEW talent. And otherwise it's kind of a throwaway. I hate to say it like that, but it does set up the story. I don't know what's going to happen this week. We'll get to some of that stuff later on in the pod, I'm sure. But I thought this match was incredible. I loved it so much. It's hard. My favorite match of the night was probably Sting, just because of all of it. But best match, it was this.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I really love the triple threat match, and in part, Brad, because what you said about when a match is just amazing, 2 or more great competitors going at it, I'm here for it and I love it. If there is that added story, it increases my enjoyment of a match. And the triple threat, how they played off the not even just the tension, but the grudge that Hangman and Swerve have, and how that was clearly, it would seem, going to cost both of them from actually winning the gold. And then that storyline, that commentary dropped at the end of the match where, did Hangman tap because he was about to go night-night?
Yeah.
Or did he tap because this is a way for Swerve not to win the gold? And then Swerve playing that up, Joe, pulling his Austin Reeves, I am him, I'm that guy, acknowledge me. I just thought all of that was excellent. All of that being said, I got to agree with you. Takeshita versus Ospreay was fantastic. And if you just look at the crowd reaction, oh my goodness. I mean, I can only imagine what it was like to be in Greensboro. If you were in Greensboro, let us know how that was live at GIPod19. I can only imagine, Brad. This was fantastic. If there was more of a story, of course, that just would have taken it to another level for me. Yeah. But the in-ring work of these two, the fact that, to my knowledge, as we record this, neither man is paralyzed, is just... The match was tremendous. I'm not ready to say where it ranks on my kind of all-time AEW pay-per-view list, but to your point, it's got to be up there. This was great. We knew it was going to be great, and it wins my match of the night by far.
What is Ospreay's? He calls it the Storm Driver, I think, 91.
Yeah, Tiger Driver 91.
Well, that's what the OG name was, the Tiger Driver. But
I'm gonna defer to you on Ospreay.
I want to say it's Storm Driver or Storm Breaker 91 or something. I can't remember, but it's It's awful to look at. And Takeshita taking that after Will ripped his back apart on that turnbuckle. I just don't understand how those two guys are alive. And some of those hits. The one criticism I'll say about that match is I never like in wrestling when they try to go too authentic. I didn't like that they put Takeshita in the fencing position after that head blow. And had him contort his fingers and do like one arm out and the other one a little bit in. I really don't like that stuff. I don't know. I've seen people that have gone into that after a gnarly concussion. It's a sign of a brain injury. And even though I know they're selling it for the match, I'm not a big fan of that. That being said, I loved the rest of the selling, and it was just so good. I would not want to take either of their hits. I don't want to catch the forearm. I don't want an Osprey kick to the face.
No.
I don't want a hidden blade ever for any reason. Like there could be a murderous alien tarantula on my neck, and only Will Ospreay is in the room to save me. And I would just say, let the thing kill me. I wouldn't even just let me die, because I would rather die than live through a hidden blade. I'm good.
He's clearly going to be AEW champ at some point this year. No,
I mean,
January 25 at the latest.
He'd be a good one to take the belt off of Roddy too, though, and then use that as an excuse to do his international stuff. Go defend it in Rev Pro and go defend it in New Japan and go to the places that he normally goes to. I think that could be a really good fit for him. But also, I want to see him as AEW champ at some point, because I mean, did you see it?
I wonder if he's going to be one of those exceptions where he kind of skips those other belts and just goes straight for the main gold. I think that's kind of similar to what we may see from Mercedes. I know you and I talked about that a few episodes back, where it just seems like they're just so undeniable that you maybe just got to position them when they go for a gold right at the top of the list. But I like your idea, Brad. International champ Will Ospreay, that would rule too.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens, see what brand he ends up on, if they're going to do it like that, or if he goes between both. He's the perfect guy to put on Dynamite now that they're rebranding the logo and the color scheme and all that stuff. Reboot, refresh, restart, and put him right on the front of it, I think would be a great way to start it. I don't know what happens with United Empire, because United Empire people are working with Don Callis. That feels like a feud that's in our future before any title matches happen. Kyle O'Reilly is back. We got all kinds of stuff happening, man. Tonight was fun with returns, because they weren't earth-shattering, game-changing returns. They were just fun and like happy and celebratory.
100%. And I even thought, and then we'll get to the next category, since we do have 7 of them. I even thought that the All-Star 8-man scramble was a blast.
It was fun, man.
And I was not expecting that at all. And in fact, I even thought, oh man, this kind of is giving 0 Hour vibes. But I thought it worked out really well, and the right guy won. The Undisputed Kingdom, or this isn't the category, but for me, biggest winners of the night, Undisputed Kingdom has to be up there. Roddy has gold. Wardlow has a world title shot. This is a great night. Kyle O'Reilly is back. I don't know if he's going to join them. It seems like he's not. But this was the best night for this faction since they became a faction.
Kind of felt like that whisper was like, hey, the era is getting back together and we're turning on the kingdom, and we'll see what happens.
Get rid of this t-shirt.
Yeah, because it might be like, hey, this faction sucks. Let's leave it. Maybe that's what's happening here. Maybe he joins with MJF. I don't know. Who knows what happens here. Tyler, our next category is best gear, and I want to kick it to you, but I'm going to say who mine is first. I liked the simplicity, but I really liked Bryan Danielson's dragon scale gear. I love that the jacket had scales. I like that the trunks had scales. I thought that was really cool. Everybody else, I can't really say in the Sting match anybody's gear stood out other than, like, can I pick one of Sting's sons? Great American Bash Sting, I guess, was cool.
Wolfpack.
Yeah, yeah.
as well
You're gonna go
with the wig.
Wolfpack on that one. Yeah,
You
that's
know I'm
exactly
not,
it.
but if
Yeah.
I had to pick between the two sons,
Oh, of course.
Wolfpack with the wig was
You're
my
not gonna go
favorite.
with a original American Nightmare. And then we have because like bleach blonde American Nightmare Cody. Come on, come on. What are we doing?
There are parallels, yeah.
Yeah, instead of the makeup here, it's tattoo on a neck.
It's the tat.
Yeah, yeah. Outside of that, I don't know that I have one. Deanna looked great. That was
She
great
did.
gear.
She did.
Deanna's gear was really cool.
Yeah, looked like a star. The star
Yeah.
Timeless Tony. I know it's the gear she's been wearing, but the weight
Right.
belt and her presentation has just been off the charts. Mariah May.
Mariah May
Hitting us with the
was
pump
amazing.
fake. Rockstar
Yes.
Tony.
Awesome.
That was great.
Absolutely awesome.
Daniel Garcia had shiny pants.
I wasn't really feeling Swerve's jacket, but his tights were awesome.
Yeah,
Really cool
the
pay-per-view
armbands
tights
as well.
Yes.
Sin Cara armband.
Yeah, I actually thought he looked great. That might be up there for ring gear of the night. I don't really know. It's such a hard one to pick because so many people were in that scramble that I've already forgotten who they are. So Osprey always looks cool, but Osprey's looked like Osprey's. Danielson's always looks like Danielson's, but I really like the scales leaning into the American Dragon thing. So I'm going to go Danielson there.
That's a great call. And I love that you gave flowers to Deanna
Mm-hmm.
as well. I know it wasn't anything maybe, that we haven't seen before from Deanna, but she just looks awesome. And again, treated like a star, the whole presentation. I really enjoyed what we got from her and Tony there. But I'm going to go with Swerve here, Brad.
Yeah.
There was a part of me that still held that hope that he was going to win, and especially on the pre-show when at least twice I counted RJ and Renee clearly said the triple threat was going to main event the show.
Yeah.
So I was doing all of this armchair psychology in my mind of, oh snap, Swerve is winning tonight. This is going to happen. And even when we started the match, we got the entrances before we started the match, and we got confirmation that it was no longer going to main event. Part of me still thought, oh wow, Joe looks like Joe, Hangman looks like Hangman. Swerve added elements to his gear that we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Usually the wrestling historian in me would say that's a sign that something big is going to happen. They're going to get a signature career victory. Mm-hmm. So I like not only that it was shiny and new, but it also made me rethink my prediction, even though I was right the whole time and Joe was going to win. I thought that was a really cool element. And I think with the announcement of AEW Dynasty, their latest pay-per-view being on April 21st, I'm going to spend $54 and change to watch more wrestling. And B, maybe I won't be too mad at that because it would seem to me that is the night Swerve becomes champ.
It
with
better
cool
be.
Gear. With
better
cool
be,
gear.
man.
It has
another $55.
Brad, Tony's not going to make us pay $55 for Swerve not winning, right? It has to happen.
It might be if Mercedes there. It might be
Mercedes first pay-per-view. That's right.
It could be if Okada's there. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to find out in 2 Wednesdays what's going on in Boston. So we'll see what happens. Did I forget? Did you pick ring gear? Did you go Deanna?
Oh, I went Swerve actually.
Oh, you went Swerve.
Swerve. No.
I got so.
I had to
the
give
gear. You said it. You said it, and I
had to sprinkle in my whole soliloquy. You know how we do.
Well, I got bogged down in thinking about what's going to happen with Swerve that I forgot you said Swerve.
Yeah, it was a part of my answer. Honorable mention to Deanna, but Swerve gets mine because it was shiny. It would look great, and it made me think, oh, is there a larger implication in terms of how this match is going to end because he's bringing out gear we haven't seen before. So Swerve gets my pick here.
Well, our next category is best entrance, and speaking of Swerve. That also got me because I thought for sure, they're bringing out the dancers to go with Nana. Like, this is a big entrance for Swerve. This is it. That was my best entrance of the night. And I mean, how could you deny Sting? His sons came out dressed like his previous gimmicks. They had the probably Darby created and directed, sitting in the theater watching his life vignette. It's showtime, the last showtime, and then the woo into the camera was so good. It was all so good. We also, like, if you want to count it all together, we got a Ric Flair entrance, and we can think what we want about Ric Flair. In Greensboro, that means something. And then a surprise, I had no idea, but Ricky the Dragon Steamboat came out as guest timekeeper. I had no idea Ricky was going to be there, so that was a legitimately genuine, awesome surprise for me to see Rick and Ricky introduce Sting, who came out with his sons. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was a perfect thing. We got all the spots in that match that we were hoping for Sting. But I absolutely love that entrance. I'm going to go with that one.
You said it well. It's got to be Sting. I think that's the only correct answer here. The vignette is what I particularly loved. I didn't think about maybe Darby's fingerprints being on this, but that's a good shout out given his film background. Yeah, that was so cool. Sting being in the theater and the posters outside the theater of different eras of Sting. I mean, you and I talk about film and TV all the time on here, so no surprise that I ate that up. It was great, man. I'm still thinking about just what tonight means and the fact that the reality that we saw his last match, this guy who's meant a lot to you and I in our wrestling fandom. This was really well executed. He had the best entrance for sure.
Our next one is best sign that we saw. Tyler, what are your candidates? I got nothing.
Yeah. But we were putting together this list. And I think this list will be fluid, right? We'll change and add and keep some for future events. Or maybe this goes horribly with our audience, Brad. Maybe it totally tanks and we just go back to the usual match by match breakdown. We'll see what happens. You all let us know. That being said, this was a little bit of a dud. I didn't notice a lot of signs that stood out to me. No, like I thought this was a great idea. This particular category. A lot of face paint. I'm going to show love to the fan that brought the white sign, and in black lettering, it said GOAT on it, but instead of an A, there was a scorpion. Of course, cool. A nod to Sting. So you and I often talk about when designing art, sometimes simple is better, sometimes less is more. And that was applicable for me here. I thought that sound was really well done.
I didn't see it, but I'm going to say I agree wholeheartedly that the one sign we have is the best sign we saw tonight. Okay, Tyler, our next category, it's best potential GIF. Why don't you start us off?
Yeah.
Or really GIF if you're one of those. I'm
really excited about this one. I'm going to choose a GIF. I don't know what the rules are behind this category. We didn't decide. I'm going to choose a GIF that already exists, but it happened again tonight. If we can go back to the triple threat, Samoa Joe moving away from Swerve's dive and the reaction it got. I love this. Is one of my favorite. I don't know if it's not a move. I guess it's a counter, Brad. If we were to categorize,
we'll call it a spot
or it's a taunt, a spot,
a Samoa Joe spot. Yeah.
So Joe doing this to one of the biggest baby faces on the roster, moves out of the way. The baby face is hurt slightly, and the crowd just erupts in applause and laughter. To me, you just can't go wrong with that. I couldn't not choose Joe moving away. He's in his bag right now.
I'm going to go Darby slamming through a plate of glass onto the floor after jumping, 1,000 feet. Like he went off the ladder for that, correct?
He did.
So I don't know how far that was, but I know that his body took all of that on the floor. He went through that glass like it wasn't there. I don't think it slowed him down at all. And
the blood just slowly starting to
immediately seeping out in 1,000 places. My big question there, Tyler, was that real glass? Our next category is pick one. Revolution 23 or Revolution 24. What do you got?
This is not a dud at all. So I'm not sure this is a hot take, but as much as Brad, I love Double or Nothing, the art, the vibe around that pay-per-view. To me, Revolution is AEW's Wrestlemania. I know All Out is given a lot of that credit. Again, Double or Nothing holds a special place in my heart. Full Gear has always been really good. But if you look at the cards over the past 4 years, I think Revolution has been just incredibly strong, the strongest consistently out of all of the signature AEW pay-per-views. So if we look back at 2023, this was from the Chase Center in San Francisco. Very quickly, some of the matches that you may recall. The opener was Ricky Starks defeating Chris Jericho. Jack Perry defeated Christian Cage in a final burial match. House of Black, I remember those guys. They defeated the Elite. That was for the Trios Championship. Jamie Hayter defeated Saraya. Hangman defeated Mox in a Texas Death Match. Wardlow defeated Samoa Joe for the AEW TNT Championship. The Guns defeated the Acclaimed, Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett, and Orange Cassidy and Danhausen. Wow. And then finally, the match, the main event, MJF defeated Bryan Danielson in a 60-minute Iron Man Classic for the AEW World Championship. So, good card, amazing main event. This show was better. I'm going 2024. There was not one miss on this card.
No.
For me, incredibly strong from start to finish. And maybe in some ways it's a bit unfair of a question because this was Sting's last match. I mean, what can top that? I thought this was a really strong show, Brad. So for me, although that main event was my match of the year for 2023 in all of wrestling, I thought Revolution 2024 overall was a stronger show. How about you?
I completely agree with you. That MJF Bryan Danielson match is one of the greatest matches ever because it was entertaining the entire time and it was over an hour, and that was great. And it had a story. And it told the story in that time period as well. And it mattered more. Like I said, the Will Ospreay Takeshita match, one of the best matches I've ever seen, but also no story. So it kind of takes away from that. But as far as just a pure wrestling match, my God, I mean, incredible. To your point, man, there's nothing that missed on there. Like you said, the closest thing we got to that was the scramble. When I saw the scramble on there, I was like, I don't want this. And then it ended up being a great match to have on that card. It felt needed on that card. Like they had to have something completely different, different pace, different interactions. I think that, you know, we had the tag team match, which was also great tonight. FTR and BCC. That was incredible that we had that go long in the cleanup afterward, because of how much blood was on the mat, that the ladies had to wait a few extra minutes to get out there. It's certainly something. And I don't really have any spot on this card tonight that I went, unless you want to get into like the nitty gritty of commentary. The commentary usually has fun banter, but tonight I did feel like they were just sort of calling each other out, and it wasn't really fun. It was just like, I don't know. Did you feel like it was like 30 seconds?
No, I meant to text you. You know, I'm weird. Like sometimes I check my phone, sometimes I don't during these shows. I meant to text you when Taz, gosh, I don't remember which match this was, but
it was early.
He was saying something. Like
the second or third match.
Yeah, he was saying something. It's kind of like when you give a lesson that you're really proud of in the moment for kids and you're not getting response. And Taz was like looking for some sort of reaction from his peers. He didn't. And I think Shivani said, "Oh, no, I was nodding. I agree with you." And Taz goes, "Well, you can't see a nod. What are we doing?" I'm like, whoa. I love Taz.
I thought that was Excalibur.
Oh, was it really? I thought
Excalibur was the one that said nodded. Like, well, I guess you guys have no opinion on this and you'll stay quiet or whatever. I'm pretty sure that was Excalibur. And then
it was both. Who knows?
And then I think Taz was like, well, I was nodding, or Shivani was, I was nodding. It's like, you can't see a nod.
You can't see a nod.
Yeah. And I was just like, good Lord. Or there was another moment too, where they were like, it was just like, where they were just roasting Excalibur later on. They were like, great job there. You really knocked it out of the park with that one. And it was very not sincere. And I was like, oh my goodness. And then later we got Jim Ross. Very cool to have Jim Ross. Really was hoping that he would be able to go on that call for the Sting match. Didn't really need him in the main event. I love you, JR. I don't know that he added a ton in that spot because he was put in an unfair position where he's been gone forever and suddenly asked to call this match. And I don't know if he's been paying super close attention to the weekly product and writing notes and stuff. So I don't know what his process is, but I don't know that we needed to know that Tony Schiavone put on his socks that morning. I didn't feel like that added to the Samoa Joe Hangman Swerve match at all. But otherwise, like I thought everything was great. I'm not going to sit here and say JR shouldn't have been there because it's freaking JR. He can call whenever he damn well pleases. I have so little to say that's critiquing on this particular pay-per-view that I have to go like, oh, JR was there as a critique. That's a good show. JR was there.
100%.
Man.
And speaking about legends who are, maybe in the twilight of their career, I mean, this is another guy that this is really a generation of talent, Brad, who are at the twilight. And like you said, it's just feels good to see them doing their thing, whether it's commentary, in-ring talent, whomever that is. These are our performers that have been seminal to our love for the business. So I agree with you. Happy to see him out there.
Yeah, JR is my goat on commentary. Nobody will ever beat him for me. Just because of when I grew up and what he contributed to the business. I'm just glad he was able to make it, and that it seems like he's healthier than before. I know his cancer came back, and he's been fighting that. So just hoping the best for him. So Tyler, our final category here: biggest question post pay-per-view. I have a few. Why don't you go ahead?
Me too. I have two honorable mentions. Number one is Willow, the woman to dethrone Julia Hart. This is obviously going to 0 Hour. The final match on 0 Hour was Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander defeating Sky Blue and Julia Hart. Brad, you and I had high expectations for this one. I don't believe it reached that. Unfortunately, we're big fans of all four women here. I frankly wanted to do a swap and have this on the main card and put that scramble match on 0 Hour. I think you and I saw that similarly, but perhaps it ended up working out as it should. But is Willow the woman to beat Julia Hart, to dethrone her? That's an honorable mention for me. Second one, what's the plan for Wardlow from here? So he's getting the title match, which was another clue for me that Samoa Joe was probably going to retain. But what does that look like? When does that happen? Again, I don't want that to be the match at Dynasty. As much as I love Wardlow, and I'm a Wardlow guy, that has to be Swerve's position. So how is that going to play out for Wardlow? I'm encouraged that he got a win. But my answer to this final category is, who is Pac going to target? I am so happy that he's back. I still don't know if it's Pac or Pac, because I've been saying Pac, but Renee called him Pac.
I think it's Pac. I think Pac has called himself Pac.
Well, of course. And Renee also told us that the triple threat was going to main event. But we love Renee and RJ. Thank you for that affirmation, my friend. I thought it was Pac. Yeah. Let's go. Huge Pac fan over here. Who is he going to target? I want to hear your thoughts on that vignette. I thought it was great. We got the Pac vignettes from a few years ago. I'm so happy he's healthy and we're going to see him soon. So who is his target going to be? I would imagine that we're not going the direction of Death Triangle right off the bat. We're going to get Pac as a singles. And I think he's amazing and should go for gold. So my thought is he going for the international title, or is he going for the TNT championship? Who's his target? That's what I want to know.
Great questions. I want to know if Will Ospreay and the United Empire are going to reform, or if it's, what is Will going to do? Where does Kenny fit in all of this now that they're in the same company, rather than jumping in their opposing companies? They're part of the same company now. I'm with you, man. Like, I think the question is Pac. I think him coming back is going to help boost the roster a little bit. I hope, as long as he doesn't go the way of, all the other talent that just isn't on the show very regularly. I just want to see him be put in a big spot. I think him going after a title will work. I don't know what Wardlow's going to do, but I wouldn't discount him winning the championship. Do you remember who Samoa Joe lost the TNT title to?
Yes. Yeah. There's history there.
I think there's a possibility that Wardlow can beat Samoa Joe. I think he's not going to, because that would be stupid. But I think that it would be a good shot for Undisputed Kingdom to have the belt, because Adam Cole said early on, I think Wardlow said he wanted to win the belt and challenge for the championship. And I'm pretty sure Adam Cole said something to the effect of like, yeah. And then when you win the belt, you and I will have our title, or you'll give it to me, or whatever it was. So I think there's definitely a story to tell there. That could be interesting, and that could be the path for Swerve to feud with them, and eventually win it back. But I think it's Swerve's time, and it needs to be Swerve's time.
100%. Yeah, there's no doubt. Well, I can't wait to talk more AEW with you, Brad, in the weeks to come. Of course, we'll talk WWE, pop culture. There's a lot that we get into here at GI. But of course, as we conclude every episode, I must ask you one more question. What did we miss?
We missed a lot. We didn't talk about anything in the WWE outside of the Bloodline and Dakota. We didn't really talk about anything that happened on AEW TV this week, because the pay-per-view was just all that really mattered. I'm sure there are other things. We lost Chris Mortensen this week. We lost Richard Lewis this week. There just seems to be a lot of people from my childhood and even beyond that are dying and retiring and all of these things right now. What I'm missing is, when did the notice come that I had to start thinking about my mortality more? That's the thing that I missed this week. It's been kind of crazy.
For sure.
But just really glad that we got to see Sting for the last time in a wrestling ring, and that a few weeks ago we got to see him live in person. So trying to keep that in mind and give people their flowers while they're with us.
100%. I think since our last recording, Virgil, Ole Anderson,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Like mortality, man. It's a scary thing to think about. Extremely. But I appreciate your thoughts there. I got a quick list for us. Caitlin Clark declared for the WNBA draft and passed Pistol Pete Maravich to become the all-time NCAA points leader. Yeah, she's just a business onto herself. I was watching some of the Iowa game, and the venue sold out, and tickets are going for like $500. I can't wait to see what she does for March Madness, but then certainly also, in the W.
Mm-hmm.
We got to talk some quick pop culture. Curse of Oak Island. I was reading a little bit in preparation for our episode, Brad. I heard there was not a natural disaster, but some natural weather conditions that were affecting the most recent episode. I believe some hurricanes.
Yep.
And
Hurricane Lee worked its way up the coast and then headed straight toward Oak Island in Nova Scotia area. We don't know yet what the damage was, because this is obviously recorded earlier. And Hurricane Lee did do some pretty extensive damage up there, flooding and that kind of stuff. So we'll see what happens on Oak Island, because the garden pit that they're excavating and drilling a mine, or making the mine shaft down to the old shaft that was there, floods every time they get a big storm like that. So we'll see what happens. There's only a couple of episodes left this season anyway, so I think that's probably going to be done until next year, which is fine. But exciting stuff going on Oak Island.
Yeah, it sure seems like it. There's also exciting happenings on The Bachelor. This week we have hometowns. I can't believe it's the final four. We got Daisy, Rachel, Maria, and Kelsey A. I think Daisy is now the odds-on favorite. Last row segment we had, Brad, I told you Jen was a sneaky favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And that week Jen went home. I know nothing. I don't know why people listen to me or my opinions on this show. Clearly, I am not batting 1,000, but Daisy's the baby face. She's the big fan favorite. And I think she might just end up going all the way. Final note, you alluded to this earlier. Maybe even during our production meeting. I don't know if it was during the recording, but last week was a big week for us here. We dropped our 4-part Sting series with Fightful's own Rob Wilkins. Shout out to Rob. Shout out to you, Brad. All original art by my co-host here. The production elements, the music. I'm just so proud of what we did. If you have not checked it out, please do. Again, 4 parts. We're discussing the eras of the icon. We also end the series with a conversation about Sting's legacy and what he means to us. So I just wanted to plug that because it felt like the proper way to end this episode.
Yeah, I have nothing to add there. I thought we put in a lot of time this week, gave a lot of content, had some fun conversations, got to do a lot of good stuff. I appreciate the shouts there on the art. Proud of that. Proud of what we were able to do. Really having a blast with this and getting a chance to formalize giving Sting his flowers.
Yeah, it's always a good time. Well, you can find our articles on wrestling, pop culture, and more by visiting gimmickinfringementpod.com. Of course, you can also follow us on X and Instagram at GIPod19, Facebook at Gimmick Infringement. Thank you so much for being here, and we hope you'll join us again for the next edition of GI. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.